Calling the regular session of the Brandon Select Board to order. Do I have a motion on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. Do we have any amendments? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. None opposed. Mr. Bailey.
Oh, thank you. Select Board members' remarks. We have a very peaceful crowd looking here, so I think I can be very brief and just say, we all play nice in this sandbox this week and treat everyone with respect, and it will be a wonderful meeting. Thank you very much.
All right.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll come up. There is a primary election tomorrow. I don't have to remind the civically engaged folks in here, but please go vote.
Yes, it is not only a cherished civil right, it is a civic duty. So,
Any comment about that?
yes, you may.
Thank you. I know I have to get up and introduce myself, Brent Bueller, but I would like to say Sue Gage does an amazing job for this town, and she has since she's taken over, whether it was COVID or our current political situation. So I want to thank Sue for the effort and her service for that.
Likewise.
Yes,
Good
well
deal.
said. Couldn't agree more. The woman runs a tight election. Okay, so item number 3, consent agenda to approve recurring matters. Do I have a motion to approve recurring matters on the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we consider 3A, B, and C on the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a second discussion. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right, now do we have a motion to approve the items as a consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve items 3A, B, and C. All those in favor? Aye. None opposed. Item number 4, reports from the town manager and community development. Mr. Hopkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public. I have a few items I want to highlight from my report, if I could, and a couple of updates. So for highlights, I was going to highlight the election, but you have already done that, so I appreciate that. The voting is from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening at the American Legion at 550 Franklin Street tomorrow. I do have an update on the paving. As you know, they had not come in July, but the current plan is that they'll be here Thursday this week. Pike Industries coming Thursday this week. So the job is probably a Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday job is what it sounds like. And as a reminder to the community, this is 500 tons of asphalt being applied on the following spots. So if you are prone to driving in those spots, please allow yourself extra time. None of the roads will be closed, but allow yourself extra time and be careful in the work zone. Ride-on Acres, Stone Mill Dam Road, Union Street from Maple Street to the Swamp, McConnell Road south of Wood Lane, and Wheeler Road for the extent of paving. And just as kind of a kudos again to the board for the plan here. This is the Select Board's paving program for the summer. And 500 tons of asphalt is a lot of paving, and it's all being funded by means other than the property tax. None of this is coming from the town's budget. We had some grant money that we applied for and were awarded, and we also had some local option tax money put toward this.
Excellent.
I want to highlight the visit Ralph attended, Select Board member Ethier attended the visit of the architects up at the Highway Department last week. And they're going to kind of get going with a proposal for the pre-design phase for your consideration. So that would be the next thing that will come to the board, and hopefully it will come fairly soon. I do want to highlight the resignation for family reasons from the Police Department of Lieutenant Paul Samataro. We're very sorry to lose this experienced law enforcement professional, and we do wish Paul the very best in the next season of his life. We had a follow-up interview with an already certified level 3 Vermont officer. An offer was extended, which I consider to be a very attractive officer, and unfortunately was not chosen. The candidate was also considering another department and chose to go with the larger department. It's believed that some specialty kind of areas of work were attractive to the candidate. And I also want to highlight, and this is the last thing really from my report, that I wrote this on either Thursday afternoon or Friday morning, and I had mentioned we had had a lot of increase in activity in animal neglect, animal welfare, animal control calls, as well as public health calls regarding garbage and vermin and so forth. That was all true at the time. We did have, I let the select board know at the time, and I'll let the community know now. We did have an actual public health response required late last week. It was something that developed over the course of time and kind of came to a head toward the end of the week. There were a number of animals were voluntarily surrendered to the town's care. And this was on Friday afternoon, really. And our animal control officer, Carly Lehrer, has a lot of contacts in the world of animal welfare, and she was able to successfully place, at least for fostering, all of the animals that were surrendered to the town, so that by 7 o'clock Monday morning, all of them were out of the town's care. So that's a big lift for Carly to have done on super short notice with a variety of animals. This was just not dogs and cats. There were some reptiles, there were some livestock, things of that nature that sometimes were a little bit harder to place. So I want to thank her especially, and our health officer, Gabe McWigan, for coordinating their response. And then following up, Bill and I met with Gabe on Saturday morning and spent some time putting together the other kennel for holding dogs and so forth. And I just want to make the select board know, as you're going to consider appointing the budget committee later on, I think it probably is time for us as a town to think about an actual animal and public health program that we fund. Like, we have no funding in the budget for anything other than a really, really part-time stipend for the animal control officer. And then we have $1,000 for equipment, which is like the kennel and things of that nature that we're going to use. Animal control and public health are primarily the responsibility of the town of Brandon. They're not something we can pass off to the state. We know that the state will assist us whenever they can. And they are assisting us now, even in this response. But I think that we need to start planning on a little bit more resources being available just in our budgeting, right? So the FY26 budget has closed successfully with a surplus sufficient that the town's not going to be putting itself in a bad position with any expenses to meet this response that we're making. But it would be prudent of us to plan on there being stuff like this happening from time to time going forward.
And it would be helpful to look at what other towns are doing and how much they're budgeting. I think that would help us with our thought processes.
Very good. So that's all I really wanted to highlight from my report. I think the rest of it's fairly straightforward.
So any questions for Mr. Hopkins from the board?
Yes.
Yes.
I hate to bring this up in a meeting, and I know we've talked about it a number of times. But since you talked a little bit about the police department, the police chief, I am still every day more and more and more and more concerned about the e-bikes, motorcycles, e-motors, four-wheelers up and down the roads. And I just can't imagine that if I'm seeing it as often as I'm seeing it when I'm hardly out, that we can't make this a priority. And I know that I was at the pharmacy the other day and just watched the kids coming out one driveway and right up our town sidewalk and running around it like it's their own private racetrack. I don't have to say where, because I'm sure everyone knows where. And it's just out of control. And I'm at the point where I, in my own personal mind, feel like we're at a tipping point. The inmates are running the asylum, and I just cannot believe that if our police officers are driving the roads, they're not seeing some of this. And I know they may be hard pressed to write certain tickets, but if there's a kid going down the road on an e-bike or an e-moto and he's doing a wheelie all the way, I mean, this afternoon we watched a kid go down 400 yards of by the golf course on one wheel. And, I'm seeing it everywhere I go. And I do think it's time that we make this a priority. I think it's time that the kids know that our police go off duty at 4 or 5 and that our shifts we should try to stagger a little bit to maybe try to get some of these, make these suggestions. And that's my comment.
And I know that I spoke with the chief this morning about the particular issue of the children on dirt bikes that have been riding on the sidewalks and the street visible from the Walgreens and Hannaford's. They are working on it. They have some videos. There's one video that I've seen that they appear to be on the street, and these are, little kids on dirt bikes. He's got 2 officers working on it. They may have to go from a state law direction as opposed to our town ordinances because it's a little tricky. There's unfortunately some personal issues that make the investigation difficult, but the police are working on it. We're there.
They're aware.
The parents are aware.
They are not unaware.
If there's a kid riding and he's got his wheels up in the air, that's careless and negligent riding. Even if there's other things, and they just have to make it a priority. It's not that location. I see them everywhere I go. I got to believe everyone is seeing them. I don't know.
Claire?
Thank you. I'm Claire, and I live by the corner of Park Street and 73. I have been so vocal to the kids going through there that she's talking and I'm just going to take my head off what she thinks. There are kids this tall, and there are adults going down 73 doing wheelies, blowing through every stop sign at that. Trying to go to kids, helmets, they're in the roads and they think it's a joke. And they're going to get killed. And then we're going to have I don't understand exactly where they're not asking them. I was going to stick. Four-wheelers blowing through the air, screaming in the wind. There's just insanity in front of my house. I don't know where the cops are, but they're not doing, and that's going to be that. Yeah,
I've noticed more and more that the parking right outside, right here, the parking stops at the top at the hill. It says no cars beyond this point, and all you see is cars. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, when there's something big going on, you understand it. But on an average day, they're going to the bar, and there's not room to drive in the driving lane. You got to go out. There's going to be an accident, and then drinking involved. Yeah, that just adds to it. I just think they need to put signs up, or they just can't beat them.
Yeah.
No, there's just no enforcement.
Yeah.
Well, we do. I would like to just maybe assert a little bit of, I understand the sympathy. I share the sense that there's not enough visibility by the police. They are making an effort. They are writing tickets. A community member asked me today for a report from, the sheriff's activity in Brandon, and the sheriffs are writing tickets. The sheriffs are writing tickets, the Brandon police are writing tickets. I saw today on a very brief errand, I ran out of the town office at lunchtime. I saw both Officer Kelleher in a cruiser on stationary patrol on Route 7 by the cottages, and I saw Officer Allie Nicholas in running radar, from the Franklin Street end of the center of town. So they're out there, and just because I don't see them all the time doesn't mean they're not out there. I do have a great view from the office that I get to sit in of Conant Square, and I have seen blue lights pulling over cars a number of times in the last couple of weeks. I've seen cars towed, so they're out there. They're not out there as much as we would like them to control this. And I agree, the two-wheeled or sometimes one-wheeled stunt riders are out of control. There is no debate in my mind about that. I've expressed it to the chief. He understands it. He has expressed that, yes, we have an officer who's working at the police station right now due to an injury, and that has freed up 2 or 3 of the other officers to be out. What we're talking about. So it's been a change over the last 2-3 weeks at least. I think I've seen a lot more of the officers out on patrol, including the chief. The chief has been out on patrol. So I appreciate it, and we will continue to try to do more.
Tricia Welch. Sunday we were coming up from Lower Union Street, and a kid was going back like this across both lanes as we came up over a hill, and good thing my husband's paying attention. If there aren't ways that you can do anything by writing a specific fine or ticket or whatever for these kids, can we not, there must be laws on the books about child endangerment. Can we not go to the parents and file a child endangerment case against the parent for allowing their child out unsupervised on these pieces of equipment?
That may be the case. I would trust the police to know the most appropriate course to take. And I know that a third option that he has brought up to me on a ticket or dealing with parents in a consequential kind of way is he's talked about confiscating the vehicles, the bikes and so forth. And he is ready to do that. He likes to give, a warning, but the second time, he has said he's ready to do that.
Just like there.
And I just want to remind people too, we are in a position where we don't have officers 24/7. See something. They would say, the chief may be, so that's helping us by providing a report. If you know the color of the bike, if you know the child that's involved or the person that's involved, report it to the police chief, and we'll follow up. And if there is a case where you're not getting any sort of satisfaction from the police chief, please reach out to Seth and or I will make sure they're in the response.
My last comment on the motorbikes was they're not on Route 7. I know I've seen the cruisers on Park Street and on Route 7 also, and I appreciate that. The kids are on Country Club Road, North Street. They're on your road.
Yep.
And your road, they stay off 7 mostly, but and that's where if they're just driving around, I don't even think they're going to catch them by sitting in a place. They got to catch them by driving and having them come the other way.
Any more questions for Mr. Hopkins on his report that doesn't involve motorbikes?
I just got one comment to make. I just want to talk about the hours the police officers are working. They need to change their schedules. They all can't work during the day. They got to work some different hours so people everybody knows when they're
They go
off.
home.
And they just continue to work. Every one of them that I know it works during the day.
Yeah, and I know we've talking to the chief about staggering shifts.
And yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We have had conversations about exactly that.
Mr. Bueller.
Brent Bueller again. My comments are about losing the lieutenant, and I'm sorry that we are, but it's a case in point because I know that we were paying hiring bonuses, signing bonuses.
I don't think we ever did. We just.
You never did. Okay.
Increased the-
Okay. Well, that's it's just a question. I'm just trying to clarify what we're up to and what we're up
We were
against.
advised it wasn't a great strategy.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
and so we didn't pursue it.
I mean, I'm not being heartless or callous here. I didn't know if we were paying signing bonuses or if we have severance packages for people that, they're here and gone, because we were paying to train officers
Right.
before and then they'd leave and it was at our expense. So as a taxpayer, I was just curious. Thank you.
What we were advised to do is what the select board chose to do, which was to apply a uniform increase to the whole salary schedule. So that the concern that came to us from the police officers union was that if you offer a signing bonus, it feels great. But then the second year, the officer feels like they're taking a pay cut to stay because there is no retention bonus. And so they advised us to try to make our base pay more attractive. And that has happened. And Brandon does have a very competitive base pay right now for the police department.
Great. Thank you for clarifying. Appreciate it.
Mr. Moore.
Thank you very much for August 10th. The recreation world, believe it or not, all has arrived. Huge thank you to the Brandon Masons and the Brandon Inn for making kids safe with the generous support and underwriting and services. The Brandon Masons pulling up, although they get for $5 per kid in the Brandon Inn with the second year as opposed to for free, doing less impact the Brandon. All quality programming is open post. The program is open for registration. Youth soccer, grade pre-K through 6, August 28th, another deadline. Cheer is actually not up yet because we're working on the location, but September 8th is going to be the registration deadline after grade 6. Football, grade 1 through 6, our registration deadline is September 7th. Longtime observers will note the absence of grade 7th grade football. We worked with Ottawa in the middle of high school to have them take over the management of the program. After Ms. Michaela is back with a big change, we'll be moving rehearsal back 25 Rossiter Street space. Registration is open until class for the fall. Daily kickball is back after a couple of years absent. Parents and kids will play at the next school twice a week in this free offering facilitated by Assistant Director Robin Douglas. Archery and Melinda starts back up on September 9th. Youth cross country for grades 3 through 6 will start in late September. August 15th will mark the 100th anniversary of Rudolph Valentino's death. The silent movie series will commemorate this date with showing a 1926 Son of the Sheep with the amazing Jeff Francis by the piano accompaniment. Free will operate of refreshments proceeds will be collected by the former president of Town Hall on the future movies. Will start at 7. I wanted to take note of the fact that came in, ran in the hub in our home, came in, half the presence. They're at the desk. This is the report of the Vermont Council of Rural Development promised to deliver to us. I think everybody participated in that, because I can get back page of it. It's a fantastic read. I also want to know an update on Union Street. We spoke with D-Trans, who's allowed for us offer to work with folks to help speed along the right levels easements for the Union Street. I am going to be walking tomorrow with Ripley. We have great point of view as far as the tricky spot to make sure it's safe as we make it safe, most safe, those different spots ability of the street. That's my report. What's that?
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Moore from the board?
I have a question. On the middle high school football, they're taking over the management. Are they gonna fund it too, or is that still within our budget?
No, they're going to fund it too.
Okay.
Now we can just get them to take on baseball and. Okay.
By the middle school football, we're really excited. We worked in conjunction with Otter Valley past 14 years. I've been rec director in the Provide Middle School program. They finally agreed to accept the program as its schools like stages, like the bus team stages on.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Good work on that. Any questions for Mr. Moore from the public? Moving on, item 5, there is a request for a road closure of Pearl Street for a harvest dance. Mr. Moore.
Read my, the recreation department is partnering with Colleen Wright Events and Barnes Opera to offer a unique event on October 2nd, 2026, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We wish to host the inaugural Harvest Bridge Dance on Sanderson Bridge. This is a family event that will have food, drink, music, and dancing in the 2002 covered bridge. As the most critical part of the logistics surrounding this event, born from an idea proffered by, we would request that the select board allow for the closing of this Pearl Street from Corona Street to the intersection of Long Swamp and Short Swamp Roads, starting at 4:45 p.m. and ending at 10 p.m. Specific to this closure, organizers will provide warnings in the newspaper of note and multiple postings on social media and Porch Forum, alert the local emergency services organizations, use the rec electronic sign to alert drivers during the week prior to the event, allow for the safe passage of through traffic to the homes on either side of the bridge inside the road closed area. No traffic shall pass from beyond the driveway of Barn Opera on the south side and the final driveway of the north side of Pearl Street. There will be some on-site parking at the Barn Opera property and a shuttle service from an off-site parking area. We thought this was a kind of cool event to introduce around harvest time. No idea whether the weather would be, it would certainly be covered, it would be rain or shine because you have the covering of the bridge. If you guys still allow this event to happen, that was kind of interesting event celebrating the fantastic covered bridge.
So it mentions food and drink. Will there be alcohol or only non-alcoholic beverages?
At this time, we don't have a plan for alcohol. I mean, if we did have a plan for alcohol, we would require a catering license from a vendor that would have to provide that. But food, the same thing with food vendor would need a food permit or vending permit from
And live music, recorded music.
The recorded music provided by Miss Jackie.
Okay. Okay. And have the residents within the no traffic road closed sign been approached?
No.
So what is the town's commitment in this? What are dollars and cents? Is it just to facilitate the closing, or what are we talking?
We're going to charge $10,000 to get the special.
Yeah, okay.
That's going to be free. I mean, there's really not going to be much in the way of financial commitment for this, aside from in my salary hours being there. Fairly low, and we haven't decided whether this is going to be a liberal donation, and if there's going to be a little donation, but if you're more signage for the bridge, to protect the bridge, or to fund future events, essentially. Move idea. Saw a picture of some photos on the bridge and another idea, like fairly low highlight, but also a low investment for a highlight. It's not, require outdated tax that we did require to have any sort of requirement for funding. We were being donated sponsors otherwise.
Do we have a notion of the normal through traffic on a Friday evening over that bridge? Or even a rough idea?
I mean, I got we study this Friday. I'm not sure what we can count for. I humble opinion, providing enough time to let people know right now. If you guys are to consider this and lay it over for the next meeting, we still have 6 weeks to alert giving it back and see what can happen. I till 10 o'clock. Start then there's not on the lake there. 6, I mean, the dance will be 6 to 9. And I wanted to provide an opportunity after the fact before we get out of there.
But the closure, but the dance is still 9. Mr. Bueller?
About parking, I know the opera side, but what about the other side?
Actually, we'll just get that we're working out right now, but we're going to shuttle people from parking. I mean, got some friends on this side of the bridge. This side of the bridge that we potentially approached, right? We're getting people from lots in town. Ideally, we have people park on the lot on the side. And then have-
Is there any interfacing with the covered bridge group or society or whatever that is that gave us banners and things like that this summer, or is it?
I would definitely look to involve them to something like that.
Just curious, I'm on the board for Barn Opera Vermont, and I've been speaking with Josh Collier, and neither one of us know anything about this.
So there was Rep. Colleen Wright of the Colleen Wright mentioned that Barn Opera was on board of the studies.
First we've heard about it.
I kind of wonder why we're gonna partner with somebody that we kind of parted ways with. A bad taste in my mouth about it.
I found Colleen Wright events to be partnered with the board with since the parting of ways when she was town employee. She's run two successful rentals of the town Estabrook for the carnival, a couple other ancillary events.
I kind of like the idea if this happens of doing it as a fundraiser for the bridge sign. I mean, we've been talking about, swinging beams and various things that, cost money, but if this were to happen, doing it as a fundraiser to help protect the bridge, would be something I would think would be a good thing. I mean, I guess my main concern is, we don't want a repeat of the uproar over the Airstreams. So, I mean, talking to the people who live within the no-go zone and to let them know that they will be able to go to and from their homes, that the only place where people literally will not be able to drive is that stretch on either side where pedestrians are going to be and party goers. But I do think that having them involved, or at least, making sure they understand and know what's going on, would prevent that kind of anger.
So I wanted to introduce this to you guys, and to be clear, speaking with Colleen Wright of Colleen Wright Events, my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, Tricia, is that she's been booking booking Barn Opera on behalf of Barn Opera, or working with Barn Opera to be booking there.
She has done some events there, but we've known about it before. She's never done anything publicly. So this is the first time Josh and I, or anyone on the board, should have been about it. So,
Okay.
it's great if it's a fundraiser for the bridge, but there's a lot of moving parts there, and people on the property and have using in front of the barn or have liability, that was discussed here. We're going to argue it before she's out asking the council.
Claire?
Brian, thank you for your statement. I too feel that it's a poor choice.
Could you talk into the microphone?
Oh, sure. Hello. Thank you, Brian, for bringing up the issue that Colleen and the town have separated. I also think it's not a good idea for a lot of reasons. And based on that alone, I personally don't know. And I think there are people that feel the same way. I'm not bashing. I'm just putting it out there. The town is more important that we have integrity in the people that work here. And that's all I can say. And that was missing.
We have to approve this tonight, or can we get more?
No, I just wanted to introduce this to you guys in quick consideration.
I think the concept is wonderful, but I appreciate these other remarks also, and was wanting to know kind of like a dollar and cent kind of idea.
I would not, sorry, go ahead.
Pardon?
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I would just say, I'm not terribly comfortable approving it until we certainly have buy-in from Barn Opera, and certainly have buy-in from Pearl Street homeowners or affected homeowners.
You have to have.
I mean, I not anticipate having much more overtime to work with that. I mean, my sense of having done events like this in the past, that attendance will be fairly low. So, you know, it's at the end, it's the river, you know, the novelty will think actually wear out on people. I don't see this something that attract thousands of people. I get any indication that that was going to happen, certainly happen. So make some decision about whether or not we need to hire trolls and that sort of thing. It's very.
I mean, I think it's kind of a fun idea. It's basically a version of a block party. And frankly, I think our town needs more block parties. But I think that for it to be successful, we need to have buy-in from, you know, people who will be affected, and that includes Barn Opera and that includes the homeowners. So
And I was understanding and Tricia had no idea that you guys were not applying for this at all. So, but I mean, again, from a manager's standpoint, I understand that she was working events with on moms up, which was another event that she was for.
Maybe by October, the mosquito. Maybe.
I respect these.
yeah, they're never leaving. Okay, so we're going to table this until the next meeting. We'll have some more information maybe by the next meeting. And, you know, I appreciate that you have brought this up well in advance. And so that is good. All right. So item number 6, we are going back to the budget committee. We announced at the last meeting that we were taking applications or letters of interest for people who wanted to be on the budget committee. We received 2 letters of interest or responses from former budget committee members, Tricia Welch and Jan Coolidge, who are both here tonight. And I'm assuming they both they came, they both still want to be on it. So do we have a motion to appoint Tricia and Jan?
I make a motion that we appoint Jan and Tricia and continue to look for a few more people.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, we wouldn't need to interview because they've both been involved. So
Yeah.
it can be done now without interviews.
Yep, known quantities. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Oh, this is the fun one. Mr. Hopkins, the results of the townwide reappraisal RFP.
Right. So you have a summary chart, and I did post on the town's website, which is available to the whole public if they are interested. I posted all of the complete detailed proposals that we received from the appraising firms. There were 6 responses to there are only 14 firms that can do this. 6 responded to us, 2 declined for various reasons. 4 provided proposals, and the proposals are laid out there. So my suggestion is that the select board allow the professional staff a little time to follow up on references that were provided by all 4 of the firms to speak with some towns where they've done recent townwide reappraisal work. And then for the select board tonight, if you have any other matters that you'd like us to find out more about based on either your reading of the memo or of the detailed proposals, I have a particular concern about making sure that I'm clear on the involvement of the in-house town staff that's expected / required from one firm versus another. Because I think that could be a significant amount of time, money, hassle that maybe doesn't reflect in the cost total given.
Yeah.
Need to bear it in mind.
That was one of the questions I had as well. I also see that if we went with Nimerick, they wouldn't be done until 2032.
That's a really long time to wait for a townwide appraisal. Well, again, this is a great opportunity. This is a really great opportunity. Your assessed value is almost certainly going to go up. right? But that's not the point. Your taxes are not going to go up commensurate with that. The tax rate will dive after the townwide reappraisal is done because we're trying to raise the same money and just do it in the most equitable way we can based on current market values. That's the goal. And right, your assessment might double, might triple in some cases. Your tax bill will not. Your tax bill will stay the same. Assuming all other properties are doubled or tripled.
I understand that and agree with that. I would just be interested in the ones that are more familiar with places like Manchester and Dorset and the high-end towns, as opposed to those that are familiar with the towns that are more on our level, about how well they do the appraisals, have familiarity with what the market values are and what the towns after those kinds of towns afterwards, their recommendations, what worked or didn't work, or were they happy with how they appraised the towns?
I want to make sure I'm understanding. So, you prefer we pay a little attention to towns that we like maybe aspire to?
No, I would like
You're
to pay
worried about-
attention to the companies that are familiar with our level of town,
Got it.
not so much
Okay.
the Manchesters and Dorsets
Okay.
of the world.
Yes,
Thank you.
understood.
I think we're already
And you
there.
said like
Manchester.
contact. Like contact some of these towns after their appraisals have been done, the ones that have been done, and see how they liked them.
The ones that are listed, almost all the appraisals have been done.
So I think
Yeah.
that's what.
Yeah.
Would it help you if we streamlined the list and like eliminated one or two of these, or do you want to check references on all four? Because I also agree that Nimerick waiting till 2032 was not good. Plus, there's hidden costs in theirs because they want a clerk, and the bottom one, Tyler, is $100,000 above anybody else. So
Those were my two
those are the two
takeaways.
Yeah,
Also,
Yeah.
you say those are two you wanted, or
no, those would be my those two
were the
those
two
two
that-
highlights that you just highlighted are also my highlights. What Nemrick has in its favor is that nobody assesses more towns than Nemrick. Like
Yeah.
they are like the go-to for many, many towns,
Okay.
60 towns.
the last one was seemed to be outdated or redundant.
And that may have been a market thing, or it may have been it may have been the length of time the appraisal took. That
Yeah.
appraisal took a while.
I mean, the other two, I mean, one of those companies did Goshen, Orwell, Addison, Sudbury, right around us. So they must be familiar with this market. And
And they're the earliest date.
yeah,
And,
they're the earliest. And
and
the other
the
one,
municipal consultant seems to, they kind of have a range of town size and types. There's no,
I can present to you a more thorough list that kind of leans on those two, if you prefer to stay away from the other two. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just gave you, like, you see the title of that right-hand column is Select Vermont Reappraisals. Like,
right.
I threw you names of towns that I thought would be kind of meaningfully relevant.
Gotcha.
But that's not the exhaustive list for any of them.
But those are in the
The complete list is in each of the
packets, which
right.
I started to look at, but then my eyes crossed.
I would try to make it easier on
Yeah.
you to not have to be.
I would like to say, for the community's benefit, I mean, these are big numbers. They're $250,000 and up.
Yeah.
But I do want to let you know, we fund our reappraisal fund to a whopping $5,000 a year, right? That's what the town of Brandon puts in from our own taxes toward this. We did an appraisal about 8 years ago
So we have,
or so. So like about $40,000 was our kick in, but we have about $229,000 in the fund because the state of Vermont gives the town a per parcel amount toward reappraisal every year. So it's almost like saying it's like a 1090 match or something like that. It's certainly not more than a 2080 match in terms of what the town will actually pay for from its taxes. Most of this is funded by the state of Vermont's per parcel contribution to the town. I think it's partly a recognition that, you know, essentially we are now paying a statewide property tax through a local tax bill, right? The statewide education property tax is something that the state has a real interest in being done equitably up and down Vermont. And to make that happen, they need each community to make sure that its grand list is equitable.
Is there a date that we need to have this done by?
We're under orders we've already been under orders for 2 years. And I spoke with our property valuation and review person at the state, who's like, the person who issued the order and is overseeing our compliance with the order. And I was like, we're not looking at a lot of people available to do this very soon. And she's like, oh, we understand, it's another one of those things. I think we spoke with the candidate for Senate who was here, David Walk, right? And about this was one of my things, that there's not enough people doing this, and the state knows there's not enough people doing this, and they're not going to, pin us to the wall and say, get us an equitable appraisal in the next 18 months, because they know it's not possible.
Great.
That said, it's to our benefit to do it expeditiously and not let the inequalities or the inequities of our grand list linger and get magnified over time, which is what will happen.
So, yeah, well, and one of my questions was, where's this money coming from? And so thank you.
So we're short, we're short right at this moment, but all these firms are like a more than 1 year process, and you cough up like a third or something at the beginning. And by the time the final third rolls out, we would have another dose in from the state on the per parcel fee. We should be very close to either of those. The 350 would be a reach. 350 by summer of 2029, we might be short.
Right.
But the other three on the time frames given, I think we would achieve. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we're not taking any action on that. We're just going to let Seth and Bill and the staff do their due diligence.
And if you have any questions that you want to raise now, or the public wants to raise, and have us research, like if you have specific questions, or tell us, before the next select board meeting, we'll try to get answers.
Okay. All right, so last on the agenda, we have comment and participation, starting with the select board. The two things that I was going to mention already got talked about. So vote tomorrow. It's a civil right, civic duty. And yes, we are doing our darndest about the e-motos and the dirt bikes. And I stand in my front yard and scream at the kids as they run by, and they're just like, old lady. So yes. So anything from the select board? No. Any comments from the public? Mr. Bueller.
I know, Brent Bueller. I love the fact that these appraisals don't raise our tax rate, and getting that across to the public makes such a difference. So your system of showing what people's taxes are going to be each year, if you could circulate that, or whatever the word is, so that they can use it and say, okay, if you go up to this, your tax rate's still going to be just this, or so, how do you get it across to people? Because I know, I talk to people and they haul cars and put them in their yards for appraisals, or or they don't let them in. They won't let them in, and they don't. And they don't take care of their outside because they think that,
What I usually tell people is the size of the town is not changing, and the budget of the town is not substantively changing. So we are raising the same amount of money off the same number of parcels. So in theory, other than maybe a little tiny tweaks, any individual's taxes should not meaningfully change.
But I love Seth's tax calculator. I mean, if people can,
some will, but if they've added a ton of value to their property. But I think most people living normal lives without huge changes are going to have not huge changes.
But what I really wanted to ask about is, so we had talked about a it had to do with the bridge conversation, because Cecil brought up that it might be a fundraiser for the chains or something. Right. We had talked about a turnaround for trucks. And so is it my understanding then nothing's been done?
So the truck can turn around.
Oh, they can.
They can turn around at Corona Street, which is the recommended from this side, or at Short Swamp, Long Swamp section, which is the intersection on the other side.
Okay.
That can happen already. I did talk with the chief. He comes in every week and nice to talk about wide ranging things. for about 25 and 30 minutes. And he suggested that V-Trans has been open in other communities, and less than a handful, so other communities. V-Trans has been amenable to those communities increasing their fines for violating the road regulation that allows you to get close to the covered bridge, and then really increasing the fine when you hit the covered bridge. So, instance, the town's top limit for a civil fine is the same as all towns. It's $800. We cannot go higher than $800. But up on Smuggler's Notch on the state's road, right? The state has said $20,000 if you get a tractor trailer truck stuck up there and it blocks traffic. And similarly, so his suggestion was, lots of signage, sure, but $10,000 for going past Corona Street in a vehicle that won't fit. $20,000 for attempting to enter the bridge in a vehicle that won't fit. So we're going to reach out to V-Trans. I haven't heard anything definitive, but I actually feel like the Covered Bridge Society and VLCT might meaningfully partner to just make this a blanket thing in Vermont if they're serious about protecting covered bridges, and it's really a problem. I don't know how many covered bridges there are, but I know there's a lot across Vermont. It seems like it's a little bit wasteful of energy for each town to go through this process one at a time and may or may not succeed, but it's kind of on the table. We don't think the lack of signage is the problem. We think I think that he sent out Ethan, the bridge was entered but not struck, right? Within the past 2 weeks.
Oh, and I was just about to say, I hadn't heard anything.
Yeah, it was entered but not struck. And he sent Ethan out, and Ethan spoke with the driver. No, the driver was not there. Ethan spoke with the homeowner who saw the truck go by and talked to the driver after the driver started like backing out and trying to maneuver and made a mess of somebody's front yard and so on and so forth. And the driver told that person, yes, I saw the signs. I thought I'd try it anyway. So, right. So some of these strategies or tactics or measures that the town might take might be more successful in some cases than others.
So maybe we need, we have the sign, my favorite sign with the truck actually hitting the bridge, like, look, this is what will happen.Maybe we need to put a sign under that says, don't even try it.
Is it at all a GPS
Part of it
issue?
is.
Still?
Yeah.
It still is.
Well, yeah, because they're still being rooted that way.
They are, yeah. I mean, I can sympathize with that because I've been in that position, so.
Yeah, some drivers.
Many of the truck drivers don't speak English.
Yeah, well.
So they don't read the sign.
Well, except, no,
Right?
that's not, I don't think that's the whole problem though, because.
No, but it's some of the problem.
We have signs that are pictographs. So, I mean, that's the whole, we have the English signs that have the numbers.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't
we also
matter
have-
what language you speak, you understand what a truck hitting a bridge looks like.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
the
if your
numbers
GPS
are.
is showing you to
Yeah.
turn right, you turn right,
Well,
or you.
I did send a request to Google Maps to note that it was no through trucks, and it apparently is already listed as such. So if you, yeah.
Yeah.
And so either these trucking companies are using their own GPS systems, which happens, and they might not use Google's system, or it's people ignoring it, or they don't have, there's a setting you're supposed to put on if you're driving a certain size vehicle that won't take you on certain roads, and they might not be using those. So.
Gotcha.
We've had trucks stop at my shop and ask if them signs are real, if they can make it through. Or not. It's like,
Now we
well,
can
you
put
better,
it on-
you better
Yeah.
turn around. You better turn around.
Yeah.
And they don't turn around at Corona Street. They turn around at my place
Yeah.
because they can't back into Corona Street.
Yeah.
But that's why I thought I'd ask, because I thought at one point we were going to have a turnaround maybe at the bridge.
I watched
It's
it.
still under consideration.
But yeah,
The
yeah.
wetlands the state wetlands folks have been very cooperative about our desire to investigate a turnaround on the town side of the covered bridge, very close to it.
Mhm.
I did watch a truck back all the way down Pearl Street.
Yeah.
From right about Ralph's place to the 802. Which was super impressive. Not legal,
Stupid
but
dangerous.
stupid dangerous.
Yeah.
Not legal, but
But he didn't hit the bridge.
They didn't hit the
They
bridge.
didn't hit the bridge. Well,
Well, 100 to 107, depending on how you classify them, 100 bridges of law.
Yeah. A lot. All right.
Last chance.
Mr. Gould,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
non-debatable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.